Hey, what's up everybody? It is Kellen here from Start Your Systems, and welcome back to Monster Energy Supercross 3, the official video game, where today we're going to be playing the custom replica version of the 2020 Salt Lake City 6 Supercross that just actually released. I literally just finished this track on PC. It is available on PC, it is available on Xbox One, and it is available on PS4. It is under the name SYS-Salt Lake 6 on all three. So you're welcome to try it out on any of the consoles. Did the same thing last week with Salt Lake 5, or last 3 days ago, I guess, with Salt Lake 5. So check them out. I'm going to try my best to get all of the previous rounds onto Xbox One and on PS4 as well, because obviously they're already on here for PC from some of the stuff I did earlier in the year. But that kind of... Let me turn my ghost off, because I hate when the ghost is in the way. That kind of just depends on how much time I have once my daughter's born, to be honest with you. So hopefully I'll have a little bit of time, spare time, just to kind of take care of that, but I digress. Again, as per usual in this video, what I'm going to be doing is kind of talking about the Salt Lake City Supercross 6 that just happened, IRL, on Wednesday night. And because of that, obviously, kind of like a spoiler alert here, just letting you guys know that I will be kind of spoiling the race results, because I'm going to be talking about the race, and we're just going to jump into it, shall we? So, question coming into this round was, can Eli Tomac wrap up the championship early, and can he get it done? Can he finally get the Supercross title in his back pocket, and he could do it around early? The answer is no. We're going to the final round of the 2020 Supercross season with a title fight still alive. Is it close? No. It's 22 points. Cooper Webb picked up the win. Eli Tomac finished second. Ken Roczen finished fourth and was eliminated from championship contention. But yeah, Cooper Webb has kept this thing alive, and it's not close, but that, you know, is out of the question basically, because I think the only way Eli Tomac was going to lose this title down the stretch anyway was a big crash or a mechanical DNF of some kind. So really, I mean, like, if he doesn't make the main event, Cooper Webb would still need to win or finish second to win the championship. So that's kind of like, it's not impossible because Webb's been crushing it lately, but it's still like a task. It's not like he just walks it home if Eli doesn't make the main event. And if Eli does make the main event, then Webb needs to win the race, because at the very least, Tomac would pick up 1 point for making the main event, even if he finished last. So that, you know, gives him 1 extra point towards this whole thing. And even if Cooper scores 26 points in the main event, or 23 points for finishing second in the main event, I should say, because he would still need to win, then he would just tie Eli, and Eli has the tiebreaker. So just championship scenarios, we don't need to talk about this because we're not there yet. But anyway, Cooper Webb won this race, and it was a really, really good race. I don't want to hear people saying, oh, it sucks because this dumb Cooper Webb guy got out front and I hate him and It was a good race. Like, seriously, we need to stop just crapping on people. You know, Eli Tomac, yes, he went beast mode. Yes, he came through the field. He started almost dead last. I mean, he was dead last coming to the first corner, but he made a couple passes, like by tucking to the inside in it, and came all the way back to finish second. And that is huge. That definitely needs to be applauded. And he was going for it, and he was trying to win the championship tonight, and that is really, really gnarly. And he's a gnarly dude. That's why he's probably going to win the title this year. But we don't need to crap all over Cooper Webb and say, "Ah, Eli, if he got a start, he would have won. No big deal." Like, we gotta cool it with that a little bit. Cooper Webb was in the middle of this Roczen-Osborne battle the entire race, and then the second Tomac moved into third, Cooper Webb realized it was time to go, and he picked up his pace and started running faster lap times than Eli. Eli ran a faster lap overall because he did it earlier in the main event, but Cooper Webb got pretty close to Eli's fastest lap time late in the race, and even ran his best lap of the entire day towards the end of the main event. So this guy can flick a light switch and figure it out if he needs to. So we need to give Cooper Webb a little props here, because because he knows how to get these race wins in his back pocket as well. Like, he can get this done anytime, anywhere, and he's proven it now. 3 wins in the last 5 races coming down the stretch here. Gnarly stuff. Like, he has done a really dang good job to at least keep this thing alive down to the final round. You know, you can look back to his Arlington crash. You can look back to his weird 12th at St. Louis as to reasons why he's not going to contend really for the championship at the final round. But still, he has had a pretty terrific season, all things considered. So Just want to give props to Webb before I start, you know, gargling Tomac here a little bit, because Tomac deserves a lot of credit for what he did in this main event. He was incredible. He got a terrible start, which is starting to become a thing with Eli again. He sometimes fixes it, and then 2 weeks in a row or 2 rounds in a row, you know, it's been, well, he got a good start last time, and Webb almost put him down, so I'll give him that credit. But the round before that, he got pinched, and then the round before that, he got a good start. So it seems like it's every other race at this point. Tomac is either going to get a good start or he's going to get a bad start. And this time, he got a bad start. He got an awful start. He was outjumped by everybody around him. He definitely went into the first corner in last. And he's talked pretty extensively, I feel like, about wanting to play it a little bit safe on the starts. And because of that, he goes inside gates a little bit more often. And I've beaten a dead horse about this on the race examination videos over at racetracksonline.com. But he just keeps going back to that inside gate, and this time it wasn't super inside, it was more like middle-ish inside, but he still got pinched off and still ended up at the back of the field. And, you know, it's not the worst thing ever, but if he doesn't figure out his starts, you know, even when we move to outdoors, he's going to have to always come through the field and always pass people. And it hasn't yet, and fingers crossed it doesn't. But I think at some point these bad starts would bite him. Like, you have Webb and Roxton and Osborne, all these guys, they start up front, they finish up front. Eli Tomac is having to pass dudes that are going to get lapped eventually in the main event, and he's doing it on the first lap of the race when it's chaos and everybody's going in every which direction. And granted, the 450 class is a little bit better, but still, he leaves himself pretty vulnerable, I feel like, more often than not, to some pretty bad things happening. And so fortunately for him, he was able to maneuver through the field quite quickly. I think by the end of the first lap, he was already up to like 11th, so he made some really smart moves on the first lap. I'm really curious to take a look at some of that footage for sure. But yeah, he basically just marched through the field, and he was making people look kind of silly, to be honest with you. Like, you know, I don't want to speak for everybody that was on the field in tonight's race, but he was going by people, and I feel like the people he was going by almost didn't realize that they were passed. Like, they just kind of continued on in their same line. They had zero fight. They just were like, there goes Eli Tomac. I guess I'll just blink and hold on after this because I can't, you know, match that pace. Because he was blazing through the field. He's coming so fast. And I would say probably about halfway through the main event, I really thought he was going to win the main event because he'd already gotten up to the back of that Osborne-Webb-Roxton battle. And he was clicking off good, fast, consistent lap times. It's, I guess, a little similar, and I wouldn't say it's troubling, but it's just something to keep an eye on, that in the main event on Sunday, he kind of did the same thing-ish after, you know, Cooper Webb almost took him down in the first corner. He caught back up to third, and then he said by about halfway, he kind of settled into a pace, or, you know, just didn't really find the same groove that he had in some of the later race charges that he had been doing. So it seems like, at least this year, Tomac's been a little bit smarter about, if I'm in beast mode, I can turn it up and I can really run that pace. If I'm not, there's no sense in pushing it, and that's exactly what he did on Sunday. I don't think that's exactly what he did tonight. I think that it's just, it got to halfway. He eventually got around Kenny. He was starting to close up on the Webb Osborne battle for the lead, and at one point he actually got fairly close to Cooper for second. And then Cooper seemed like he was like, that's it, I'm done dealing with this situation. Turned it up, went and passed Osborne for the lead. And I think ideally what Webb wanted to do was pass Zacho, put Zacho between himself and Eli, and, you know, get a little bit of a gap established on Zach, and then, you know, Eli has to deal with Zach, and by the time Eli gets around Zach, it's too late and he can't catch Cooper. But in that scenario, what happened was Cooper put a pass on Zach. Zach, having to go a little bit higher in the berm, got into some of the fluff, tucked a front wheel, almost went down, but just saved it. But it happened to be right before the only set of whoops on the track, and he had no drive through the whoops, so Eli just ran right by him and got in a second. And then the race was on. Like, they immediately started running clearly the fastest laps on the racetrack. They dropped Zach, they dropped Kenny, they dropped everybody behind them, and it was really just a mano-a-mano battle as they were weaving through lap traffic. And it was terrific to watch. Like, that's some really good racing when you have two guys at the top of their game like that, really pushing the envelope, and they get to the finish line safely. Like, it sucks when one of them crashes, and in this case, neither of them did. But like I said, Eli rode incredibly well to get to second, and like, he's probably Not thrilled that he didn't get the championship wrapped up. Had he passed Webb, he would have won the title right there on the spot. But I feel like he really can't hang his head too low from this one. And not that he will anyway, because, I mean, they're going right into the next race anyway on Sunday, and he has a chance at clinching the championship. But, like, you can't hang your head low from a ride where you literally started 22nd, basically, and got all the way to second. That is full-blown, like, that's Eli Tomac beast mode that we really have known to come and expect. And I think had he won that main event, it would have been looked at as one of the greatest rides of his career, to be honest with you, because to come that far back and literally blitz through everybody when they seemingly are the most healthy they've been all season long. Like, Ken Roczen still has this weird, he has problems with asthma, and he has, you know, shingles, and he was dealing with Epstein-Barr virus, and he has like a viral infection and stuff like that. But he was healthy enough to win the race on Sunday, and then, you know, he seemed pretty competent today. Like, it didn't seem like he was off the pace or anything like that. So for Eli to march through everybody and just not be able to pass Cooper Webb is nothing to hang his head on. Like, that was an incredible ride and really, really top-notch stuff for him. And I think that ride right there really kind of beats a nail in the coffin as to why he deserves this championship this year more than anybody. You could say the race wins, you could say the consistency, you could say all that and the other thing. I think that this race just kind of proved that he actually was the best rider on the track all season long, because he can do that where he starts at the back and he rides through everybody. So to me, incredible stuff. Eli Tomac, yeah, he doesn't win the championship, but I think on Sunday he gets it wrapped up, gets his championship done, and finally hangs it on his mantle. It's been a long time coming, and it's going to be well-deserved when he finally gets it. So yeah, Cooper Webb, the winner. Eli Tomac finishing second. Zach Osborne wrapping up the podium. I will say with Zacho, you know, like, championship aside, I was really hoping Zach won that race, to be honest with you. He led so much of that race, and it seemed like at the halfway point, you know, when Tomac was starting to catch Cooper, and it just doesn't seem like either one of them really were running fast enough to just get to and pass Zach. I thought that might have been the cliff that, as you know, if Zach got over that, realized he was still running that pace and could continue that pace on, that was going to be enough for him to get to the finish line and win that race. But again, 15-minute mark or so, which is about the same spot at the second Salt Lake City round back, you know, a couple Wednesdays ago, yeah, that he again kind of hit a wall, got passed by Cooper, and just, you know, kind of held on from there. But in this scenario, like, he did get past. He started to try to come back on Eli, and I think it was just a scenario that those guys wicked it up to another level when he was just about past his level of comfort at that point. So I wanted him to win that race. I really did, because that would have been so cool for him to see him get a win. It would have still kept the championship alive, because Cooper just needed to finish in front of Eli, and he did that anyway. But in the end, he, you know, ends up third. Still, big round of applause, because he's clawed his way from 14th in the championship when they got, you know, came back to Salt Lake City to now 6th in the championship. And yeah, Zacho has been amazing here since they've gotten back to Salt Lake City and wrapped this stretch up. And I think that's good for him, because I think it's going to give him a lot of, you know, competitiveness and drive heading into the outdoor championship, which to me, this outdoor championship is looking pretty dang good. Like, yeah, Eli comes in as a Supercross champion and defending outdoor champion, so you'd think he has all the momentum on his side. But man, some of these guys are starting to put in some terrific rides, and unlike everybody up until this point, they're not doing any training in Florida right now. They're just doing altitude riding, which is exactly what Eli Tomac would have been doing anyway. So they're all kind of on an even playing field, at least until we get to the break after this, and then it'll be, I think, something around like 25 days from the last Supercross to the first National. That's probably longer than that. The last Supercross is going to be the 21st of June, and then the first National is the 18th of June, right? So, or July, I mean. So yeah, that's almost a whole month, but we'll see. Anyway, that's a 450 class. I didn't want to, you know, talk too much about it, because I want to preview this 250 class that we're coming into a showdown for the ages here. Chase Sexton won this main event, and he did so with a pretty good ride, in my opinion. In the heat race, didn't get a good start, and I was talking to some of my buddies, and we were all kind of like, man, if he gets that start in the main event, I don't think he catches Shane. But to his credit, He turned it around and got a great start in the main event. Shane still did get a good start. Darian Sinai ripped a hole shot. I have no idea where that came from, but good on him. He obviously kind of went backwards, but yeah, Shane got the lead. Chase settled into second. It was going to be a mano-a-mano battle just like we had seen before. And this time it turned into a battle between the two of them instead of, Shane getting caught up with the lap traffic and going down a week and a half ago. So this time it was actually a battle between them, and Sexton ran him down, gave him a little aggressive block pass. It wasn't overtly aggressive. He kept him on the racetrack. He didn't put him down. It was a little bar banging, but all is fair in the end, and Sexton went on his way, started pulling away a little bit in the second half of the race, and won that main event. And that's huge because he definitely needed that, in my opinion. I think he needed to prove to himself and to kind of Shane, in a sense, that he still can run that pace that Shane has been running. Since they've got to Salt Lake City, Shane really, I think, had kind of the upper hand. We would have seen a different story, I think, in that Salt Lake City 3 main event, because I think Chase was starting to run him down, and it would have been so weird to see what would have happened there, but we didn't get a chance to really see it play out. But here it did, and Sexton caught and passed him. So, I mean, that's kind of a message sent, I feel like, that he is going to win, try to win this race, try to win the showdown coming in to the finale. And now he has a 6-point gap in the championship, and it really sets up just such an interesting showdown coming up this weekend to wrap up the championship in Salt Lake City on Sunday. We have 2 championships that are separated by 6 points and 7 points respectively. 6 points on the East, 7 points on the West. 7-point lead for Dylan Ferrandis over Austin Forkner. 6-point lead for Chase Sexton over Shane McElrath. And this is going to be crazy because, there's going to be, I'm sure there's going to be some team tactics that come into play here. As much as people don't want to admit that that's the case, it's definitely going to happen, I think, at some point. I think there's zero chance, unless he falls, that Colt Nichols, or unless Ferrandis and McElrath, I should say specifically, fall, that Colt Nichols is going to win the main event. I think if he's out front and he is in a position where he could help Ferrandis or McElrath score maximum points, he's pulling over and letting them win that race, because Yamaha wants to win this championship. They are paying Colt Nichols to help them win a championship. And so regardless of if Colt wins the title or not, they want the championship, and I think they are going to make sure that that championship comes to them. But they're in a position here where they could clinch both championships. Ferrandis has the upper hand on the West right now, but he just lost the last 2 rounds. And, McElrath is a little bit further back than of Sexton on the East, but he has arguably been the better rider through the 4-round stretch of the East Coast stuff in Salt Lake City. So Star Racing Yamaha is in a pretty good position because not only do they have 2 guys on the verge of maybe winning a championship, they have support. They have Colt Nichols and Justin Cooper, who have been no slouches this year. Cooper's won a race. Nichols has finished on the podium a couple times since coming back. And it's not exactly the same story for the other teams. It's pretty good, though, because it's still, Forkner is going to have McAdoo to kind of help back him up for sure. He doesn't have Jordan Smith. He does not have Garrett Marchbanks to help him out. But I think McAdoo will help Forkner try to win this championship. And then Sexton has, every Geico Honda rider on the planet probably coming to help him. Jeremy Martin's not going to be there, but, they have the Lawrence brothers. They have Joe Shimoda. They have Christian Craig. This is going to be a titanic battle. 3 teams have 4 riders, respectively, that are going to try to win a championship on Sunday, and it is going to be nuts. I personally think that one of the 4 people going for a championship are not going to win the race on Sunday. I think because they're going to be so focused on each other and trying to one-up each other, it's going to turn into a bit of a pissing match where they're just trying to outdo each other. I think obviously, Forkner needs to win and hope things happen to Ferrandis, and McElrath needs to win and hope that Sexton finishes 4th or worse. So they need things to happen, and they need things to kind of fall their way, and it just kind of is going to depend on where things shake down, on where the help from the team comes or where people sit. And I think because of all that chaos and everybody trying to focus on stuff like that, it is going to end up being somebody else that gets a good start and starts running away with it while they're all focused on each other. But we'll have to see. I don't really care who wins. I just love that we have 2 title fights that are fairly close coming down to the last race of the season, and they get to meet up on the same track at the same time. I think that this is exactly what this showdown was always supposed to kind of like be intended to do, just kind of cause this chaos and keep everybody close. And I am all for it. This is going to be an awesome finish to the season for the 250 class. I think it kind of sucks a little bit that there's going to be 3 champions crowned on Sunday, but there's going to be like no fans, and technically speaking, they're not really supposed to celebrate with the team or anything. But I would almost guarantee you that whoever wins the title of the 6 men still eligible for each of the 3 championships, whoever of them win the championship, they're going to go find some adult beverages of some kind and maybe some confetti and just have a party at wherever they are, maybe an Airbnb in Park City or something like that. But gonna be the most unorthodox Supercross championship celebration ever. But I don't think they'll care the slightest because they'd be happy to win the championship however it comes to them. And yeah, we're going into Sunday hot and heavy. Love to hear what your guys' thoughts in the comment section below. Just I think we all probably assume Tomac's going to clinch this championship, but maybe between the East and the West, who have you got East and West to win these titles? Between on the West, we have Faulkner and Ferrandis. On the East, we have Sexton and McElrath. Each of them have their strengths, their weaknesses, their good starts, their bad starts, whatever you want to call it, and they're all going to go to bat in this awesome showdown. So tell me who you're picking down in the comment section below. That's my question of the day to you fine people at home. But Salt Lake City is done. We're heading into Salt Lake City, or Salt Lake City 6 is done. Salt Lake City 7, oh my gosh, these races are insane, is coming in, and can't wait for the showdown to happen, man. This is going to be awesome on Sunday. But I appreciate you guys stopping by. Before I leave you guys, of course, I want to give a shout out to Pay 2021, who makes these awesome mod packs on PC. I'm using, you know, the factory Honda skins, some Fox gear, the Red Bull helmet's kind of cool. And then also just want to reiterate again that please, if you guys can, head over to racerxonline.com/subscribe. Help me keep my job, help all my cohorts keep their job, and keep us running. RacerX is on the steamboat to success every single day, and we're always putting some really great stuff out that you guys should check out. Not only our online content, but obviously our magazine content, both digital and print subscription available. Really good stuff over there. Highly recommend it. And eventually, I think you'll be able to see some stuff written by me, maybe in the magazine as well, one day. But anyway, just really appreciate you guys stopping by. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this little quick recap of Salt Lake City 6. Let's get hyped up for the showdown, and let's go into Sunday with some fire ablazing. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. So long for now.